morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us at the State of the College, or SOCA, event for 2022. My name is Kerry David, and I currently have the pleasure of serving as the president of the Board of Trustees of LTCC. Before we get to the primary purpose of our meeting today, I would like to introduce the balance of our board, who so ably serve the college as well as the community. Karen Borges, Jeff Cowan, Nancy Dalton, our board clerk Tony Sears, and our student trustee Jigo Ocampo. I would also like to recognize my fellow members of the LTCC Foundation Board who are present. We have a few of you over there. I appreciate that we are joined by our LTCC employees, some of our students, and many of our local community partners, including LTUSD, the city, Stupid, UMass Global, the County Office of Education, members of our Citizens Oversight Committee, the Tahoe Fund, and many more. I'm in my 30th year of service to LTCC, and we have others in our midst. Thank you, who have had similar tenure with the college. Danny Masalonis has been employed at the college for 32 years. I think he was 8 when he was first hired. Danny is also the number 2 fan of our soccer teams and concedes that the number 1 fan is without doubt Lori Thorne. Lori is also in her 30th year of service with LTCC. Congratulations, Lori. On behalf of the board, I wish to thank each and every one of you for your dedication, diligence, and extra efforts in serving our students and the community through the pandemic, the Calder fire, the smoke last year and this year, the relocation requirements of the remodel for efficiency, and snow days. I'm personally rooting for a lot more snow days this year. The hiring of additional staff has been necessary due to the incredible efforts of Laura Mattoon, Brad Deeds, Jeff DeFranco, and many of you in generating new grant funding for the college. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the orchestra leader of the fabulous organization, Jeff DeFranco. We have a gem of a college president, and we are most fortunate to have him lead us in these challenging times. Jeff became the 5th president of the college back in 2017, and we have been on a roller coaster ride ever since. Fasten your seatbelts because it ain't over yet. It's been exciting, and Jeff has been central in generating state support on many fronts. Our principal goals continue to be supporting our mission to become an anti-racist and multicultural institution and increase student access through enhancement of services to meet basic needs, housing, financial, and overall wellness. We are certain that with your assistance, Jeff will strive to meet and exceed these goals. He will also be sharing them with you to a further extent later this morning. In addition to former college presidents and many others, Jeff is most imaginative in seeking input from any and all sources, as you can see above. Roll tape. Here we go. So please join me in welcoming Jeff DeFranco to SOCA 2022.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thanks for that. A little scrappy. I think that was winter break. I'm assuming my family shared that, so I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Most unique introduction. It's kind of like, you know, the wizard in J.R. Tolkien's in The Hobbit, right? I know a couple of you know, right? The birds in the hair, they like to nest up there, right? They give you good ideas. All right, well, welcome to the 2022 State of the College Address here at Lake Tahoe Community College. We are thrilled to have you. Who's here at your first day of the college address? Raise your hand, make a little noise, let me see ya. All right, lots of hands. Great to have you here. Welcome. Welcome. And that's fitting, right? We have a lot of new employees, we have new community leaders, so thank you for joining us here today. So, why did we invite you here? I want to start with my why, right? That's something we talk a lot about at Lake Tahoe Community College, just starting with why. Don't just tell people what you want, but tell them why it's important to you. And for me, this is an opportunity to look back at our shared experience together, share with all of you where we're at in meeting our goals, share our student data, both good and areas for improvement, talk about our successes, have a little fun and bring a little levity. So if it's your first time, I think Carrie kind of warmed you up already, right? There's definitely a little levity in this. It's a long presentation, right? We got to keep you engaged. And celebrate our successes, right? We have a lot to celebrate, right? So it's good to come together as a community and celebrate each other and these successes. And finally, my greatest hope for this is to cultivate a shared vision, to bring us together and have a little bit more of a shared vision about where we are heading and who we are as an educational community. So I'll do my best to help make that happen here today. The theme of this year's speech is transformation. And we believe this was a fitting theme because the college is in the midst of a very significant transformation. One that I believe will change how we do business forever. And if we do this right, it could have remarkable and amazing outcomes for our students and our community. So before we look forward, I want to take a little opportunity to look back at our shared story and the experiences over the past year that bind us together. We are here together in this room almost exactly a year ago to the day. If those of you who were here, you remember the feeling. There was a sense of relief that our community was still standing. There was a sense of sorrow for our neighboring communities in the forest, but also a huge feeling of gratitude for our public safety providers. You remember many of them were here in the room, along with many of our cadets. This culminated, doesn't really show on this clip, but culminated in a standing ovation for them and their service. So a lot's happened since then. I could tell you in that moment, I was like, we made it. But as you'll see as we move forward, the year had some other surprises in store for us. And that's because we live in a VUCA world. I want to introduce this concept. This is what's around us now in the 21st century, and it's not going away anytime soon. We live in a world of volatility, up and downs, uncertainty, we don't know what's around the next corner, complexity, very complex situations. Our roles are educators, and what's expected of us as educators is so different now, right? We're social service workers, we're mentors, we're educators. We do it all. And then ambiguity. It's fuzzy out there. It's kind of gray. We don't always know what's happening. We don't always have clarity. But I would contend to you, if we could embrace living in a VUCA world, because it's the reality, we can start navigating it, and navigating it more smartly. And that's what I think one thing that we do as an institution well. We're nimble, we're adaptive to change. So let's talk a little bit about last year. For me, last year I would describe a bit as a false start, right? I like metaphors. If you know me well, I love a good sports metaphor. It is the start of football season. I know we got some football fans on the staff at LTC. Where's all my fans? Yep. Yeah. I'm always hearing Seahawks, Chiefs, Niners, Raiders. A lot of Raiders in my office. Okay, I really opened that up. But yeah, it's good. Good engagement. Good engagement. You'll see. I'm going to throw something to you today, audience. So feel free to be part of the speech. So this is a little bit of a metaphor of a false start, and I could tell you, I felt a little like the center. Let's take a look.
Well, you put a new center in the game. You need to snap it.
Wait, I thought you said on one.
False start. Offense. All the linemen except for the center.
All the linemen except for the center, right? So that's a little bit how last year felt. And it wasn't because we didn't try our hardest and because we didn't do good work, right? We start off the school year. Here we were at the county kickoff. Everything was a week late, but we were being flexible. We were dealing with it. We got into fall term. We were joined by the Chancellor's Office on their student-centered listening tour. Acting Chancellor Dr. Daisy Gonzalez came to campus. They had the opportunity to meet with students and staff, hear our stories, and we talked to them about a lot of our needs for housing and special funding to help us through the fire response and so on and so forth. And things were looking really good. And we were coasting into finals week, and what happened? Deep-Cember. Deep-Cember was upon us. You remember it, right? Snow days, closures. And what was interesting about this is we only actually had 2 days in finals week, yet somehow we managed. Yet somehow we managed to get every student through their finals. So kudos to all of you. A special thanks to our faculty who are flexible with their students and help make ways to allow them to finish their courses and finish their term. Yes, agreed. So, all right, we got through the week. You remember we were together. We had our kind of end of the year holiday party. It's like, I'll see you in 2022. It most definitely is going to be a better and easier year than 2021. And we were talking about like, that was the most challenging fall quarter ever. So we came out after the first of the year. Fast forward, I think our first day of school was like January 3rd or so. What was upon us? Omicron, right? These were some local news stories we pulled from KCRA. Our partners were impacted by it. Many of us were out. Many of us were caring for our children. Like this slide kind of gives you a sense of that. Many of us were caring for our children that were out with COVID. This was January 13th on the instruction office. This is our Dean, Brad Deeds. This day, he was also the front desk staff. He was covering for the assistant to the dean, and he was the acting vice president of academic affairs. So he was wearing a couple hats. And this is just a metaphor for what was happening in departments all across campus. There was one or two of us kind of holding down the fort. And then to use another sports analogy, one of us would get off the injured reserve right as somebody else was coming out. And we covered it and we kept things moving. And somehow we kind of managed the storm and we got through the Omicron surge. And I would contend a lot of it was due to the good planning, the good testing. And it was mostly because, Kurt, it was because we had a secret weapon. And that was Mary Ellen Sanchez. So Mary Ellen, can you stand up so we can kind of thank you for your service? Right, so if you're in this room, Mary Ellen probably put a Schwab up your nose in the last year. But in all seriousness, right, we had good systems in place, right? We had availability to testing, we had a good contact tracing, we had systems in place that allowed us to stay forward. So fast forward to April 2022, the start of the spring quarter, the mask mandate was lifted. Things were starting to feel energized on campus again. A small group joined for our first honor roll ceremony that we had in years, literally, since before the pandemic. On to June, we hosted our 5th annual Gift of Literacy on this campus. So bringing together all the first graders from every elementary school in the South Shore. Do you know what's in those green backpacks? Anyone know? Go ahead, scream it out. Books, right? All these students leave with their very own hardbound book, courtesy of our partners at Lake Tahoe Education Foundation, LTUSD, and Sir Optimus International South Lake Tahoe. They have the opportunity to hear from a guest author. Yeah, we were excited about the books too. They get to meet the college president. They get to walk around campus. And again, at the end of the day, they leave there knowing that literacy is important. It's a gateway skill. And there's this thing called college where a lot of stuff happens, and there's a coyote there too. We made it, right? We made it to graduation, right? That's always, to me, the sign that we're there. And this was our first really traditional graduation since spring 2019. No spacing, no masking, none of those special features. I know many of you have attended it firsthand, but I just want to take us back there and remind us of the power of that moment. Let's take a look.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start by saying congratulations as well. Congratulations, class of 2022. You have crushed your moments. COVID could not stop you. Wildfires could not stop you. Power outages, snowstorms, shall I continue? What you've experienced here, who you've become in this season of your life has the ability to transform your life and those around you if you let it. This moment is about you recognizing that you always have more in you. Always got more fight. Keep showing up. Keep stepping into the hard and realizing that there's so much more fight in you. And the world can't wait to see it. Congratulations, class of 2022.
Pretty amazing, all those graduates. On to summer, we hosted Taste of Gold, which is an event to bring forward bring together so many of our friends and donors. And we were out on the grass fields, and so many people mentioned to me how great it was to be together again. This was on July 24th. Sadly, less than a week later, we received news of the passing of Lisa Maloff. As almost all of you certainly know, Lisa is an individual that left an indelible mark on the Lake Tahoe community. Her gifts to our college and to the community will continue to support and serve Tahoe for decades to come after her passing. Lisa was a very witty woman. She was a very generous woman. And I want to share with you a video we put together to really honor her and her gifts to this college. Let's take a look.
Education just opens up a whole new world for you. That's why I'm so anxious to help out here.
Although Lisa is no longer with us, her legacy continues to make an impact on this campus, our students in this community. And I think it's one that has a huge ripple effect, and we never really will know where it ends. So what an amazing legacy as an individual. So thank you, Lisa. So on into August, I'm going to transition here to our annual Coyote Team Building Day. This was an opportunity for us to come together as a staff. We did a service project. We actually built these LN4 hands, 24 of them that will be distributed to people in need throughout the world. It was an opportunity for us to work together as a team and really, again, send another ripple of our work through the community. But here at LTCC, we believe in service, but we also believe in having fun. As such, we got out on the lake for the afternoon and had a little time together. And I could tell you, during this day, I was reflecting how collegial and fun of a group it is to work with. And I was thinking back on the year, all the headwinds that we were up against and all the crises we faced, yet we were able to still see so much success with our community and students. You'll hear more about that today. And it really reinforced to me how lucky I feel personally to be able to do this work. And I just want to share with this campus community what I've shared with my senior leadership team, and what I've shared with the Board of Trustees is that I'm committed to this campus. I'm doubling down on Lake Tahoe. I'm going to see these goals through because we are doing powerful and important work here. And also, you are a very fun bunch to work with. And on days like this, I'm living my best work life, right? I mean, where else does this happen on the job, right? Thank you to Nadia for bringing me the dragon float. But in all seriousness, it's a great team here. I'm really excited about the team that makes up our 22-23 academic year class. There's a lot of positivity and optimism. I'm thrilled to be here with you. That same week, this was another compelling experience I had. This is artist Shelly Zettner. Shelly's here with us today. She was a faculty member, part-time faculty member in our art department for many years, and this was her show, Call and Response. And we had this event almost 1 year to the day from the anniversary of the starting of the Caldor fire. And her art here, which you'll be able to see in the theater lobby when we're done, and I encourage you to check out, literally rose from the ashes of the Caldor fire. This was done with charcoal that was salvaged from the fire. This piece is called The Quickening. And it just was really compelling. It was our shared story. So many people were there that were impacted by the fire in different ways. There was a sense of gratitude. There was a little bit of just collective trauma was being revisited, near from the fire, thinking about it. But in the end, I think we left more hopeful and more optimistic about the future. Our partners from the city were there. This is Mayor Middlebrook receiving a resolution from our board thanking the city, their public safety responders, and all the public safety responders that help protect our basin. And the thing I appreciated about Shelley's art is although it had a lot of devastation and destruction on the forefront, many of it had this common theme of the sun coming through, right? This sense of hope, this sense of future. And at the time, I was feeling very hopeful about the year ahead. So now, fast forward to just a little over a week ago, and what were we faced with? The mosquito fire, right? Deja vu, right? Pretty massive. And I know for me personally, it was bringing back a lot of memories. My kids were thinking and asking about the evacuation. We were looking at the smoke air quality going, are we really going to have to close campus? We were worried, is today going to be able to happen? I can tell you, Monday morning at 5 a.m., I didn't see Thursday morning happening like this. And it's because it's not just here in Lake Tahoe or the western slope or the Sierras or the state of California, but we are all, the western United States is being ravaged by wildfires right now, right? So this is significantly impacting us, and I know for many of us, it just ripped that collective trauma Band-Aid right off all of us. It's bringing up all those memories, all those things. I mean, look at this. It's amazing and terrifying all at the same time of what's happening right now. So what are we doing here? There's not much we could do in this moment to address this, but how can we respond to it? So the first thing we're doing here at LTCC is we are really focusing on air quality monitoring and management. It is my goal to be the cleanest indoor air in the basin in any public or community facility. We're doing this by, we have 4 exterior sensors. You could see a couple of them there on a purple day we had earlier this week. We have 4 internal sensors throughout campus buildings. We have another half dozen being deployed at the first of this week. These black filters, I know you've seen those around. They're a charcoal filter. They help with clearing the air on many ways, but they're in every classroom, shared office spaces, conference room. And then now, you probably saw one of these in the theater when you come in. We rented a bunch of these industrial strength air scrubbers because they could turn over so much air. So we're very committed to making this campus safer and healthier, so that way students can come to school and employees can come to work. And frankly, this might be a place to come for reprieve to get away from bad air quality. So that's what we're doing right now to respond. But we want to be more than responsive, right? We want to be proactive. We want to be part of the larger solution. So I want to share this metaphor. It's been shared with me by many leaders in the forestry field, that right now our forests, the metaphor for our forests is it's just too many straws drinking from too small of a cup, right? Too many trees, not enough water. And the forestry field is saying that they are desperately in need of forestry professionals. A year ago today, I stood here and told you that we were going to launch a forestry associate's degree and certificate program by fall 2022. I'm here to tell you we've done it. It's happening. We have delivered on that commitment. We have associate and science degree program launching as well as certificate programs. We have an employable certificates program, which you can complete within a single academic year, also certificate of achievement, and then also a 2-year associate or transfer program. Additionally, our students have the ability to take courses that allow them to get their red card. This is a card that's required to work on any wildland fire through CAL FIRE or USDA Forest Service. Many of our students are coming to us from the industry already, looking to upskill. Some are looking to break into the industry. Others are like students from California Conservation Corps that's looking to take it to the next step. And so we're very excited to be able to offer this. And we have a great partner that's making this possible. I want to give a special thanks to Tahoe Fund, who's providing a $1,000 grant for every forestry student in this year. So what about that? I can tell you that this first year cohort is 34 students, and it is already full for this fall. We're looking to double that cohort next year, but it's amazing the demand and the need that's out there. We are doing our part. I also want to thank some other partners that have helped make this possible to expand. We just recently received, or last couple months it's been now, received a $1.2 million grant through the Good Jobs Challenge to support equipment for forestry and fire, as well as staffing for forestry, fire, and public safety. What you see here is a Type 3 rig, a brush rig. We're actually going to be able to purchase this with that grant, which will allow us to allow students to train on the equipment they'll actually work on when they get in the field. We were also the benefactors of a $100,000 grant from the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation. $70,000 of that will fund equipment for our wildland fire courses, chainsaw, Pulaski's, McLeod's, and another $30,000 in student material scholarships, because the materials that students have to get to participate in these programs are very expensive. And so I want to thank all these supporters, because it's really this team that's coming together saying this is a critical field, both on the forestry side and both on public safety and fire side. We need to invest in it so our summers don't keep looking like this. Additionally, we received $269,000 in congressionally directed spending this past spring. This was made possible from Senator Feinstein's and Padilla's office, and they helped this funding is going to help provide a lot of equipment for our fire academy, but most notably a mobile ventilation training prop. And so again, getting that top line modern equipment for our students to train on, so when they show up in the field on day one, they're ready to go. All right, pretty exciting stuff with both those programs. Now I want to go back to this concept of transformation. How are we transforming as a campus? What are the transformations that we're in the midst of? Which are the ones that are in front of us? And I'm going to use the analogy of metamorphosis, right? The process from caterpillar to butterfly. And as you know, butterflies start as a caterpillar. There's nothing wrong with being a caterpillar. They're beautiful beings. But then they go into a transformations phase, right, in the chrysalis. And this phase is not easy to get through, is not easy to get out of, but getting out of it is actually what brings a lot of the strength and the beauty of the butterfly. What's also unique about the chrysalis phase is the caterpillar completely loses its shape before it transforms to a butterfly, right? So it's really about letting go to become something totally different and much more beautiful. And then eventually it emerges as a beautiful butterfly. And I would say as a campus, there's many opportunities right now for us to transform into a beautiful butterfly. This metaphor is particularly of interest to me because those of you that know me well know that I'm always kind of spotting butterflies whenever I'm backpacking. I'm always kind of taking pictures of them. And whenever I'm at a spot and there's a lot of butterflies around, I notice this is a very harmonious environment. It typically means that it's a good natural environment. And I would like our campus to be reflective of that, right? I want our campus to be a harmonious environment, both in the natural landscape, but also in our landscape together as a community. So I asked my team, I said, could you there's a whole team of folks that work on this, just to be clear. There's a lot of folks behind the screen that make this possible. I said, could you give me a transformation image, something that shows just an incredible transformation to help me tell this metaphor as a butterfly? And they kept giving me ideas, and finally they slipped this next one in the desk, and I was like, nope, no way, we're not using that. And they said, well, just keep it in there for a little while. And then last night I said, can we just pull that out? They said, nope, no way. And then I took it out last night, but then I noticed this morning it was back in. So there's no real way to skip it from right now. So this was a pretty remarkable transformation from 1998 in Backpacker magazine. So apparently you can still find that on the internet. It's deep, I hear, but 1998 Backpacker magazine, that's Bernie Falls behind me to this. So yes, there are many transformations that we both go through personally, professionally, and as a community. One of the biggest transformations in front of us as a campus is the transformation to a 24/7 campus. Right? That is not who we are right now. We are very much a caterpillar in this regard, based on our hours and our services. And it's not bad. It's been great being a caterpillar, but that's who we were then. But if we want to bring student housing to campus, we are going to have to transform. This is a most recent mock-up of our student housing. Right? Pretty amazing facility. We are moving full speed ahead on this. We've committed now to embracing this transformation, so we are diving in head first. I want to share with you a little bit more about this program. So this is a proposed student housing facility. As you can see, there's good pathways that will be installed over to PE, the grass fields, library, and then also a heated sidewalk that will connect right to the student center and dining hall. This is going to become a new major primary entrance on campus. It's going to totally change how we do things. Also, what's so great about this facility, it's up here, but it overlooks this sensitive environmental zone. So it's a beautiful view. Like, what an amazing place for students to live so close with our natural environment. The thing that I'm most excited about with this particular program is what it means for our students and our community as far as affordable housing goes. We know that there has been many barriers to access that we've tried to break down with the lending library and basic needs center, food pantry, free Wi-Fi hotspots. But at the end of the day, the cornerstone in the barrier of access is the cost of housing for our students. If the cost of housing is so high you cannot continue your courses, if you have to work full-time so you can't go to school full-time, cost of housing gets in the way. And so we are going to break down that final barrier of access by providing 100 beds for students on campus. And these beds right here in the sub-occupancy, well below market rate, will be $500 a month all in. So it's going to be amazing to serve our students. I want to tell you a little bit more about it. I mean, who wants to know more about housing? Should I skip these slides or should I spend some time here? I'm just confused. All right. I want to make sure I'm putting the time where it matters. The vast majority of the rooms will be double occupancy, right? So 2 students there, 2 students here in a single suite. The suite shares a restroom area, so very different than maybe the old style dorms that you're used to. Also, each room has each room has microwave, fridge, sink. So they'll be able to do a little food prep in there, right? You're not eating in there every day. 2 beds, 2 desks, so on and so forth. We also over here have a couple single occupancy rooms because we know some of our students, returning vets, previously homeless students, other students that are maybe have some non-traditional experiences might require a single occupancy to allow them to succeed. And so we want to provide that opportunity for them as well. So I'm going to take you through a couple of photos. This is the downstairs student commons area where you enter in. You'll see a lot of glazing, a lot of glass on this facility because we want to connect to that outdoor environment. There's study areas. There's a shared community kitchen. But do you want to see inside? You want to take a walk through? All right, let's do it. So here we are outside of the housing program. And we're going to go ahead and head on in. And this kind of gives you a sense. There's a little landscape buffer. There's a quad area. See that guy skateboarding? Skateboarding is not a crime at LTCC, for the record. Walking into this front area, these will be heated walks, right? Again, just like our campus for easy pathways. Heading into the building, there's a lot of security with crime prevention through environmental designs, lockdown buttons. This will be one of the most secure facilities on campus. You'll see the downstairs common area here. Elevator and staircase will take you upstairs. It's a 2-story building, right? A little front desk where student staff will be able to work and support students, and there's actually in-house living for the director of residential living on site. So there'll be a director of residential living on site. We head upstairs. You see that lounge/community kitchen, and so any student will be able to use this. You want to get together with some friends, do a big meal. You'll have the ability to do that there. You just want to go in there, grab a coffee, lounge, study. You'll be able to do that as well. We'll head down the hallways and into one of the rooms. So we'll just come up here into one of our rooms and pop on in. And to the right, you can't quite see it here, but to the right, you would have your kitchenette space, your access to your restroom, and then here in the space, as you can see, there's 2 twin beds, 2 desks, 2 storage areas, and then of course, students will move this all around. But this will show you what it'll look like on day 1. As we head out, we're gonna actually head out the window and go above the trees. And the reason being is I want to give you a sense of where it lands on campus, right? So it's over here. You see those areas. You kind of see the library building over there. It moves around a little bit, but you can get a sense of its space looking back over toward the creek behind it. And then you can see that northern connection. That's where you'll go out to connect over the student center. So again, I think it's going to be a remarkable facility, and yeah, there you go. Now you can see the student center up there, right? So you see that connection, you see the library, you see the main building, you see the physical education building over here. You kind of get a sense how campus is going to come together. And think about this, 100 students living full-time on campus every day, hanging out in the commons, hanging out at the library plaza. It is going to transform and change the way our campus has, and I'm convinced when we are done, this facility is going to allow us to transform into a beautiful butterfly. so moving on, speaking of transformation, I want to talk about another transformation that we are deeply in right now. And I want to use this analogy of the crux of the climb. This is actually a photograph of one of our staff, Damian Estrada, rock climbing. And for those of you that are rock climbers, you know the concept of the crux. It's the hardest part of the climb. If I could just get through that, I'll be able to get there. And I could tell you, right now with our on-campus construction in our main buildings, with our Remodel for Efficiency project, we're at the crux of the climb. We are at the point of greatest pain. We have the least amount of classrooms and labs available. We have the most amount of people to the least amount of office space. So it's going to be tight. This fall quarter is absolutely the crux of the climb. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. We will get there in January. More stuff will start to open up after the first of the year, entrance to campus, more of our spaces, our art labs. And then by next fall, we will emerge once again, right, as a much improved campus. I know I told you, I sat up here, what do we always say about this? A little short-term pain for long-term gain. I'm here to tell you, I maybe should have said medium-term pain for long-term gain. It's just been a little bit more challenging than you thought. So I do want to thank all of you for your patience. As we know, the chrysalis phase, which we're in now, is what helps build the strength for the butterfly. Right? So we're building strength, we're getting character as a campus, and when we get through this, we will be transformed. But don't take my word for it. I want to remind you the things we're getting, because I think at the end of the day, if you're just hanging out and you don't have access to your typical space, you're saying, what's this all for? So let me remind you about what's on the way. We have our student services spaces, which are going to have rich connectivity to the commons area, much more expanded space up here that will allow for enrollment services, counseling appointments, financial aid support, all front-facing to students, a dedicated transfer center, moving over into the other student services spaces, a lot more offices, which will allow us to serve, counsel more students simultaneously. We now have access to our Promise space and our Student Accessibility Center. Those are we have beneficial occupancy. They're functional, but yet not complete. So that's taking place. You'll be able to see a video that will share a little bit more. This is our technology space, some computer labs, help desk, some student common areas. Again, you'll see more in the video here in a minute. Our second floor faculty offices, what I really like about this is creates a lot of collaboration by having just the co-location of the faculty, but also the co-location with the part-time faculty offices, right? So those groups could get together, jump in the huddle space, sit down on the lounge, have a conversation. The front of campus, a lot of improvements are coming to that. This gives you a sense of the finished product, the pathways, some iconic signage to welcome students to our campus. So those of you that have been on campus a lot, you know that big white wall that's up there in the commons? Yeah? Who wants to see behind that? Is anyone curious what's behind that wall? All right, let's take a look. And be forewarned, it's a construction site. It's in progress. So what you're seeing here is what's going to be the new redesigned entrance to the front of campus. It'll all be heated pathways. There's a lot of seating walls, and additionally, it'll be ADA accessible, and it'll really connect the existing heated pathways on campus. So I know we've been looking at this big white wall for the last year, and many of us have been wondering what's happening behind the curtain. And so today we want to give you a personal tour and showcase some of our construction progress. Welcome in. So what you see here, this space this will be our main student services front area. So this is where students will be able to come with help with enrollment, financial aid, counseling appointments. You see this really open look. The intent is that it's very open and inviting. Eventually this will open up and the space will connect where students could actually hang out in this space and be welcomed into the student services area. All right, so now we're actually inside the student services space. We're just in the counseling wing here, so a number of staff and counseling offices, the ability to host more members of the counseling team and more student services staff in general. So this is actually different. This is a whole new gender neutral bathroom setup. So basically each one of these is a unisex bathroom. So this is the biology lab here. It's the location of the past biology lab, but it'll be improved upon. So this is one of the more completed spaces. Eventually, it's actually going to be 3 separate computer labs that could be fully opened with these dividers over here. Of kind of 2 separate classrooms with this divider wall, right? So it's actually 3 spaces that could become one through the use of a divider wall, right? Through this accordion style divider wall. So what you have here, we're in the technology wing, and you have these little nooks, so it'll be seating areas, and then actually, this is the new kind of technology help desk. So it allows you to visit the actual tech department and interface with somebody and get some support.
Welcome to Student Accessibility Services. We serve students with all different types of disabilities to make sure that all college programs, classes, and services are accessible and available to those students. We have a study lab where students can come in here and study. They work with us sometimes on things like study skills, organization, staying on top of their assignments, and that type of thing. Back here, we have a sort of a sensory relaxation room back in here where students can come and relax between classes.
Welcome to the Promise office. Here, we're really excited for this new space because we're gonna have the opportunity to be the hub for our Promise students where they can come. We have about 4 Promise navigators, and we also have Tony over here, and our Reconnect to Complete office is extremely helpful in reaching out to students and connecting them to our campus resources. All in all, we're really excited to have a hub and a space where students can come, have some fun, get some snacks, and meet other people, and just stay on track with their classes.
All right, here we are in the art labs. This is the 2D art studio. You kind of get a sense of the space. Here we are at the west side of campus. And this road used to terminate right here, and it was built for a future fire lane that was never brought to campus. And so as you can see, that's near completion here. And this really helps us achieve our goal of becoming a more fire prepared campus, able to respond to fire, and for our local public safety responders to have full access around this main building. So these are water retention ponds, right? So it's allow us for all our hardscape and everything to come through and be naturally cleansed through this kind of stair-step water retention pond, and to really kind of be a sustainable campus and take care of the creek over here, which is our neighbor, and eventually, as you know, flows to the lake. Right, so as you can see, it's sometimes tough with those videos. There's a lot of equipment and stuff stacked up in there, but progress is being made. Some places are closer than others, but I'm confident that by next fall, we will fully emerge as a beautiful butterfly, fully transformed. And these spaces are gonna transform the experience for our students, but also for our employees. So once again, thank you for your patience. We're almost there, but not quite. And so we're gonna kind of stick through it, but I know we will get stronger through this process. So speaking of transformation, I want to talk about re-energizing Lake Tahoe Community College campus. And I believe that we are well positioned to start re-energizing our campus, and that we need to re-energize our campus. I want that feeling of vibrant student life back that we've lost over the last couple years. I think housing and the redesigned facilities will help with it, but I think also many of you are going to help with it as well. So let's just take a quick look at what this could look like. What do you think? Does that look good to you? We have the workings of that. So first off, we have a lot of events happening this year. We have a new student life coordinator, Austin Stevens, who you know has a deep connection to this campus, a lot of experience. He asked me to remind all of you about the Coyote kickoff tomorrow from 11 to 2. We want all of you out there available to greet our new and returning students and be available to them. But as you can see on this board, I won't cover everything. There is a lot planned for this year to help bring students back to campus, get the activities going, getting the engagement going. How else do we plan to re-energize campus? One of the ways is this past June, the Board of Trustees approved adding 2 additional sports to LTCC, including our new cross-country program, which will launch in fall 2023, so a year from now, and long-distance track in spring 2024. And we know these athletic programs are critical because it brings together the campus community, but more importantly, it brings in full-time student athletes that are on campus, committed to their craft in their sport, but also committed to being a student. I want to tell a story of this next individual, Val Martinez, who graduated this past year. Val is the epitome of a student athlete. She was a Scholar All-American and the captain of the soccer team, and worked on campus and gave back to this campus. And these are the type of students that athletics has the ability to bring in. So let's hear from Val in her own words.
My name is Valeria Martinez, and I am an LTCC transfer, and I am currently attending the University of California, Berkeley. During my time at Lake Tahoe Community College, I was a sociology major, and I worked at the Child Development Center, which was such a great experience for me. And outside of work and academic obligations, I was a member of the LTCC women's soccer program, which was also an incredible experience with me that I'll carry for a lifetime. I am currently a junior at Cal, and I am a social welfare major, and so far I have been adjusting super well, and I'm actually really enjoying my time here. And being a transfer student from LTCC actually really helped me. I feel prepared academically, and I'm actually adjusting well to the rigor of all of my classes here. LTCC does an amazing job at providing equity for students across all backgrounds. I was a student at Lake Tahoe Community College during the COVID pandemic and the Calder fire, and I felt supported through each unprecedented time of my life, and I really enjoyed the big sense of community in Lake Tahoe. I felt like the staff was always super supportive. All of my counselors really helped me, and they gave me advice about transferring and the application process, which is new for me because I'm a first-gen student. And I had never completed a UC application, let alone a college application in itself. So I think having a really supportive staff at Lake Tahoe Community College was my favorite thing. During my time at Lake Tahoe Community College, I was employed at the Child Development Center, and I was able to work with students and young children in the community. And that was something that I really needed because it was my first actual job experience. My best memory at LTCC was actually my freshman year, which was in 2019. I was part of one of the best soccer teams that I have ever played on. Our women's program went undefeated in our conference, and we made it to the Final Four state championship, and that was just such an amazing experience. I'd really like to thank President DeFranco and the LTCC staff for giving me a chance to share my experiences at LTCC.
So there's only one Val, right? So we won't be replacing Val, but we'll be hopefully bringing in many more students like her to follow in her footsteps. What else could we be doing to re-energize the campus? And I've thought a lot about this and a lot about what it means to be our organization. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be the housing facility or these new science and art labs. I mean, that all matters, right? It creates the environment for a catalyst for change and improvement. But at the end of the day, it's all of you, right? It's the people of Lake Tahoe Community College that make this up. And we have so many great people on this campus with so many stories and have provided so much support to students. And so we're going to need all of you to help re-energize LTCC. This past year, get this, we hired 41 new employees in the last fiscal year, right? It's amazing. It's an all-time record as far as hires in 1 year. We've brought on a lot of these new divisions thanks to grant funding. We have a brand new dual enrollment team pictured here. Dual enrollment, I know you're in the house. our Hispanic serving institutions, STEM grant folks. I know you're here as well. Thank you. And we've had TRIO, but we just got both our grants re-up for 5 years. We added a new director, and we've expanded our TRIO team. So thank you, and welcome to our TRIO folks as well. So a lot of new faces on LTCC, and they're bringing the energy, right? The new folks are bringing the energy, but it's also our responsibility, those that have been here for a bit, and I count myself in that, I'm at 10 years now, to also bring the energy and show them the way, the LTCC way. Here are some of our students, student leaders, and also many of our staff that were doing a training this past week. And you'll see they're all proudly representing the Coyote brand. And I want to let you know, for everyone that's here today, whether you're a partner, foundation board member, staff member, we have one of these shirts waiting for you out in the theater lobby when you're done, out on the theater patio. So we want all of you to be an ambassador for LTCC. So if you're here, you're already an ambassador. You're already more informed. So please take one of these with you. Show off your Coyote pride. I also want to talk about efforts that the board's making to help improve our employment and help us with, first and most importantly, retention, and then secondarily with recruitment. This is a graph that shows the changing in full-time positions by our classified staff. What you'll see is we've been able to invest in more full-time positions in recent years and reduce the number of part-time permanent positions. And the reason for that is we know as we can get more full-time positions, it allows more folks to get a living wage within the Tahoe Basin and commit to being here at LTCC for years to come. And so we're trying to do the best we can to make that progress. We are trying to add other benefits, such as the Employee Assistance Program that provides mental health services to every employee, regardless of benefit status, right? So we want to be, I know I got some other peer employers in the room, but to be clear, we want to be the best employer in the basin. That is my vision, that is my goal. This past spring, the board took what I think was a very critical step to help improve compensation on campus. This Resolution 13 created a 5% increase across all salary schedules, regardless of where we are at with negotiations projects. How can we lift up the salary schedules to help keep up with inflation? But again, most importantly, to better retain you and recruit good candidates to work alongside you. So all of this, I think it's a very special place. I talked about this. It's not just about the dragon float. That was just the moment. But all of this is really about this LTCC way. And for me, what this means is, first and foremost, the shared value that we have at LTCC, number one, is a high commitment to students, right? Secondarily, and equally as important, relationships matter here. Relationships with our students, but relationships with our colleagues, right? We pride ourselves on collegiality and professionalism. And one of my most favorite parts, especially from the president's perspective, is we debate during the day, right? We don't always disagree, but we still hang out after work. We get together on the weekends, right? We are a friendly campus community. We know this work is challenging, but we persist, we demonstrate grit, and we endure. And really, as you all know, the biggest part of the LTCC way is being small but mighty. And we are doing that. I mean, we are fighting well above our weight class on the state level right now with the programs we're delivering, the resources we're bringing in. It is my goal to compete with any community college in the state of California or the nation as far as that's concerned. Yeah, there we go. Glad I had a couple Coyotes in the house. So I'm going to shift here a little bit and talk about the students. And I want to share some statewide data because we do have significant headwinds. There is some serious enrollment decline, and it's got me and many of us asking, where are the students? What happened during the pandemic? Where did they go? This is a report that recently came out from UC Davis Wheelhouse. They're kind of the premier community college researcher in the state. And what you see is that enrollment decline since the start of the pandemic was 14% below the projections. 211,000 less students. And let's hear about these students. We have 18% of them were male. Where are our male students going? Why are they not being served? Let's look at race and ethnicity. 17% of our Latinx students that were projected to come to college are not coming to college. Think about Latino students, right? Where are they? And so it's our job to rethink how we're doing things. I know we think we're available to receive them, but we need to be student ready to go out and greet them, meet them where they're at, right? That is the work. Let's see the data, how it looks at LTCC. This is our unduplicated head count. It started to soften in spring 2020. Pretty significant drop the next year. We had a little bit of a rebound, but there's work to do. Where are we at our point in time report? This shows our enrollments each year. For context, the pink line was last year, right? And the yellow line right here that's touching it was this year. And we knew, I kept saying, last year, remember that Caldor fire, right? Remember that Caldor fire? It went flat, right? When you're evacuating and you're thinking about your livelihood and your house, you're not registering for classes. So the good news is we have kind of separated from that, and we're up. Our head count's up 10% compared to this time last year, so that's a good trajectory. Our weekly student contact hours are up 4% compared to this time last year. Now, with that said, the head count's still down 11% from start of COVID, and the weekly student contact hours is still down 13% pre-COVID. So our trajectory is good, but there's still work to do. And so here's what I need to ask of all of you. The next couple weeks really matters, right? If there's a student lost trying to find their way to class, sometimes they just don't get there and then they just don't go. If there's a student looking to get a late registration in the class, sometimes they don't get that, they won't go. So we need to do everything we can through the next couple of days, through the first couple of weeks of classes, to make sure that we continue this trend, and then most importantly, get them from term 1 to term 2, that persistent. So is everyone willing to commit to that, able to assist me with that? So again, the trajectory is good, there's work to do, there are statewide headwinds that are working against us. All right, everyone received one of these progress updates when you walked in? Did you get one of these? Yeah? I keep them everywhere, I keep them all around. I'm very proud of this document, mostly because what it represents for our institution. I talked about the false start last year, but really, we still had some great accomplishments. One of the things that we measure is our 6 Vision for Success goals related to student achievement data. I know you can't read them right now. You might be able to, but you'll be able to take this with you and look at it more closely. And so these are the 6 goals that we use to measure our success. Goal 1 is increasing the students who earn an associate's degree by 20%. You'll see that we increased this 62% from the baseline year. Little COVID dip, but we rebounded. So great work there. Each one of those is a student, right? Each one in the blue graph is a student who's having their life impacted. Certificates. This has been an area of commitment for us the last couple years. We're trying to place more emphasis on these certificates. They have labor market value for students. And I want to give a kudos to our team in enrollment services, tech, and others, especially Drew Cunningham for getting auto awarding going. Now, students don't need to fill out a bunch of paperwork and come to the desk and navigate how to get a certificate. When they earn it, we award it to them, right? You earn it, you get it. And that's going to help us when we're able to go back and retroactively award some certificates, help out those students. Moving on, all students who earn an associate degree for transfer, I've described this before as the golden ticket. We're up 121% since our first year, right? That's an amazing accomplishment. So we've met all those goals. We've far exceeded them. This next goal, the goal was to increase the number of transfers by 35%. We're at 31% this year, so we're a little low. You'll see last year we were actually above 35%. There is this weird thing happening where we have to get the data from the National Student Clearinghouse, so it's possible all the four-year institutions haven't submitted where our students are yet, so this number could still go up. But again, the trend is good. We're getting more students to four-year universities. The next one, decreasing the number of accumulated units. We need students to get through in 90 units for an associate's degree or as close to there as possible. We've made a decrease in impact of that. Again, achieve that goal. And the final goal was about living wage data, right? Increasing the number of students who achieve a living wage by 10%, right? Students don't come to college to get a degree, they come to college to get a job eventually, right? Let's be honest, that's what they're here for. This data it comes in late, that's why we only have the 1920 data. It's a little bit in the rear, but we're making good progress there. So I want to move on to our next student spotlight. This is Bruno Macias. Many of you know Bruno. Bruno graduated last spring with the Business Administration Associate's degree. So he's one of the data points in there, and a Business Administration Associate degree for transfer specifically. So he's the data point in there. So it's not about the data or moving the graph, but each one of those data points represents a student whose lives were changing. Let's hear from Bruno.
My name is Bruno Macias, and I am a former graduate from Lake Tahoe Community College, and I am currently going to the University of Nevada, Reno, where I'm studying finance as my major, and my minor is computer science. I'm the first one to go to university on my dad's side, especially. And so I do have, big shoes to fill on my end. But really for me, it's like, my goal is just to graduate, bachelor's, perhaps get a master's, and then from there, hopefully I could start my company immediately or maybe down the road in life. What helped me be successful at LTCC was the programs that were set in place. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And also, I felt like I needed community college there to really figure out what my life was going to look like, and also what my future was going to look like, but also more or less, really try to save as much as I can for university. And so LTCC gave me every incentive to go over there with the Promise program, where I went there tuition free, essentially helped me save up for university. I think a re-energized LTCC looks like a campus that is going back to normal, essentially, but also one where it's coming back better than ever. My favorite thing about LTCC has to be the campus life and the staff and faculty that is over there, especially the staff and faculty, because they have been very supportive, of my journey in LTCC. Even whenever I had some problems with school, or say I had a bit of an overwhelming schedule, they would be very understanding of that. And also the classes would tend to stay flexible around that. Their whole goal is for you to succeed, for me to succeed. And so that was something that it means a lot, It didn't feel like if I had so much pressures that I felt like I was gonna be that one statistic where I was gonna drop out of college, most likely. I would say for President DeFranco, keep on being the same person that has been receptive to the feedback about, how campus could expand more, and to keep on expanding campus, because I know that, for instance, there's a whole residence hall that is planned at LTCC, which I think that's something that's gonna really help, going forward. And I think that that's gonna be something that will be wonderful to attract more people to LTCC. And I guess trying to figure out how we can attract more of those students to LTCC, so that way it could, again, have a more rambunctious campus life, but also a lot more students, a lot more talent that could be LTCC alumni.
Bruno, more rambunctious. That's the first time I've actually seen that video. I'm not sure what that entails, but it sounds fun. But as you see, each one of those data points is a student that we're making a difference in their lives. I want to share next our progress to our goals, right? How are we doing on our goals? Again, you have your progress update. I'll bring my other progress update back out. This is actually one of the most detailed progress updates we did. And part of it is there's just too much to share. There's not enough. I can't fit it in 90 minutes anymore. We're doing too many good things. So there's a lot of details in here, and I encourage you to give it a look. Under each goal, it shows the goal that we had last year. It talks about what we accomplished and then what the next steps are. So you as a campus community can be very informed through that. But I do want to hit a couple of the high points. Our first goal is really about becoming an anti-racist and multicultural institution. And we continue to take steps toward that. I want to look back to a training that we did this August with our staff and our campus leaders, with Lasana Hotep and his team, really helping us think about how we could be equity leaders, be a student-ready campus. This team is also conducting an equity audit for us, and you're going to hear more from Lasana later today. He's our keynote speaker later today, and he's also working with our faculty this afternoon. So that's one of the steps. There's this T3 framework that we talked about that Lasana shared with us. This idea of transition, and you see the butterfly metaphor again here, and that was actually his, that just happened to line up. You see the traditional, transitional, and transformative. And I could tell you that as a campus, we still have some processes from an equity lens that are still very traditional. The good news is we are doing some stuff that's transformative as well. And if I had to give the institution a grade today, I'd say we're probably in the middle, right? We're in the chrysalis, we're in that transitional phase. So let me say more about that. In the traditional phase, there's no systematic analysis. The historical and systematic inequities that are built into the system still exist. Privilege is there without regard to student needs and student equity. Transitional phase, we're we're reformative, but we're not yet student ready. We're still trying, we put these strategies into place to fix the student, right? So let's fix the student to work for our systems in transitional. Now in transformative, that's when we become a student-ready institution. We start addressing these systematic inequities. We look at the social-political causes of these inequities. We become very data-informed. We disaggregate our data. And at the end of the day, we are a student-ready, anti-racist, anti-sexist institution. So this is where we're trying to get. I could tell you we are making good steps toward that. We are reaching out. We are serving our students. But there is more work to do. I want to give one example. In this training, we read a number of case studies about different colleges. The colleges weren't named. And there was this one college that had this very complicated process for late registration. And we were asked to grade it from the 3 different levels. And we, of course, all graded it traditional. And we were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they put the students through all those hoops. That's so much paperwork. Why do the students have to provide backup on their life story and everything that they went through and share their trauma just to get into a class a week late? And at the end of the day, what we realized was that was our form. Not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny, right? And that's the thing. And this form was probably created years ago, right? And there's forms, there's processes, policies, procedures, forms like that all over the place. And that's why we need to look at our processes with the equity lens. But I will tell you, I'm very proud of the team, Vice President Batista, the Enrollment Services team, everyone that jumped on it. Within a week, we had updated that form. We had removed those hoops. We don't require that backup. It's like, you want to get late registration? Here's the steps you need to take. You just need to get the sign off from the faculty member. Boom, go. So part of that is, some of these things just need to be brought to our attention. Also, another step that we did is that we've been working on this for a while, is we finally launched our hate and bias reporting system. So students and staff have a way to easily report those, also any Title IX complaints, and also just report any coyote concern. Is there a student in need that needs services? Let us know about them so we can provide some wraparound services. Let's hear a little bit more about this new program from Vice President Batista.
Hey LTCC, I'm excited to share that we have a new way to communicate about student concerns across campus. From any page on our website, simply scroll down, and on the bottom right-hand side, you'll see Report a Concern. Click on it to submit a coyote concern. And it'll take you to a new page where it explains the 4 types of concerns you can submit. You can select a Basic Needs Center intake, a hate and bias report, a student concern support request, or a Title IX request. Select one and click Go. It will then take you to a new page explaining again the purpose of the form that you're about to fill out. Please complete the form as fully as possible, and on the bottom, click Submit Report. This will be a great way for us to communicate across campus about student concerns. And if we're able to do this consistently and communicate the needs of students, we'll be able to follow up with them and offer the support that they need. This is essential to creating a safe, supportive learning and working environment for all members of our campus community.
All right, nice tool, right? So more information and training will be going out on that this fall, but we want to share it with you here. I also want to talk about our hiring processes. We know that it's important to have our staff and faculty reflect the diverse makeup of our students. We've tried to make progress on this. I want to share with you, I shared that we made 41 hires last year. We work on getting our applicant pools diverse and also our final candidates diverse. And you'll see that 51% of the hires we made last year were from racially or ethnically diverse backgrounds. So again, we are transforming the makeup of this campus. And it's not by mistake, it's not by luck. There's a lot of strategies that go into getting to this step. Also, I want to talk about full-time faculty hires, because these are critical, right? Full-time faculty are the primary point of contact for students. Students want to be able to see themselves in full-time faculty. So these are our non-instructional and instructional faculty hires since 2017, when I started as president. And I want to know, as you can see, about half of them have been from diverse backgrounds. So again, making progress there. We've also been recognized for some of our work. The Campaign for College Opportunity recognized us by providing us with the 2022 Excellence in Placement Award. And what this is about, that our Latinx students completed Transfer level English above 70%, which is very high for the state, one of the top schools in the state. But also, when you disaggregate the data, they outperform the rest of their campus peers. So in that one area for that student group, we are closing the achievement gap. Additionally, let's look at students completing math and English. We know this is a leading indicator, right? If you complete transfer level math and English in year 1, you are much more likely to graduate within 3 years. The green bar is our Latinx students. You can see the last 3 years, they've been outperforming their counterparts in that metric as well. So that's another area we've closed the achievement gap. And that's our highest group of minoritized students, Latinx. That's partly why there's the focus on that group. So good work is being done there by all of you. Congratulations and thank you to the faculty in the classrooms that's supporting those students. On to the second goal. It's about student access, but through an expansion of wraparound services. And we've done a lot to that area. Specifically, the Basic Needs Center. We've expanded from a food pantry. We do so much more for students. And also so many great referral services. So it's a first starting point. We served 226 students through the Basic Needs Center last year. That's double to what we served 2 years ago. So the need is greater, but also the follow-up is better as well. And I want to share this story from a recently incoming student, Mark Mazzo, about his experience getting supported through student services. Let's take a look.
My name is Mark Mazzo. I spent most of my life in Topanga Canyon, California, down in Southern Cal. I was a rancher. I've been going to school for close to 40 years and I'm going to complete it this time. And I found my way up here about 2015 where I worked at Heavenly for 4 years. I took what I thought was going to be a challenging position up in Idaho. I felt that I didn't fit in. I felt as though I needed to be back here in California. I had 2 reasons. I wanted to be closer to my family, and I wanted to complete my education. My 17-hour trip turned into 4 days, which really depleted my resources, and it put myself and my 12-year-old coonhound in a pretty challenging position. I found my way over here to Lake Tahoe Community College, and the first person I met was Naomi in the financial aid. She helped me fill out all my forms and gave me direction on the resources that were available to me, including basic needs. She introduced me to Ivan, and he pretty much made my life a little easier by helping me out with gas and groceries and the food from the food pantry, and which next led me to the Veterans Services. I am a proud veteran, and I found out that the resources here for veterans are great. To the next place I went to, and that was Emily at Student Services. At this point, I was living in my truck with my dog, and feeding myself by a camp stove. And she basically got me off the street and into the Econo Lodge, where I stayed there for a couple weeks and regrouped. In addition, Nicole, my counselor, she is wonderful. She is putting together a class outline and an educational plan to help me achieve this goal. Basically, it's a group of angels, and the crew here at Lake Tahoe Community College are really interested and empathetic to the student. I'm just an example. I'm an old country boy. I'm trying to make an example for my youngins and to show them that an education is very important, whether it be traditional or technical. Just be the best you can be.
So great shout out there to so many of our LTCC staff for the work that you do. In addition to our staff, we have so many partners on our foundation board that are helping our students as well, and our donors. I want to highlight that. This is our scholarship giving to students since 2017. We have more than doubled it. I mean, this number, it mirrors colleges 4 or 5 times our size in the state. So kudos to our foundation board members and donors. I know many are in the room, many are watching. Thank you. I want to talk next about our dual enrollment program. This is offered in partnership with our partners over at Lake Tahoe Unified School District. We've made some progress. We're moving from 21 sections offered to 31 sections offered year over year. But more importantly, the number of courses that apply for CSU or UC credit has went from 3 in 17-18 till 9 in 2021. So that's increasing. We also have an MOU that now allows us to serve South Tahoe High School and Mount Talac. So we're excited about that. And we've established a new partnership with Nevada Joint Union High School District. Our dual enrollment team and all of you are helping these students explore and discover college before they're even out of high school, so they become college ready and hopefully even come to LTCC. Speaking of coming to LTCC, I want to talk about our Lake Tahoe College Promise program. This is a key support program we have for students. We partner with UC Davis Wheelhouse. We want to have an independent evaluation done to see what they said about the program. And there's some qualitative data that was shared from student and alumni interviews. And here's what students said matter. The program helps support and reduce stress due to the financial support. There's a high degree of social connectedness and support and expectations. They appreciate the cohort type experience, that the academic supports help them build confidence. So these are all the things that are helping them progress. They also gave us some suggestions for areas of improvement. Clarified the benefits. How do I use the benefits? How do I access my bookstore credits? And so this is great feedback as we look to improve this program. Additionally, we looked at some of the data. Again, math and English transfer level completion year 1, we know it's critical. Look at our Promise students, the level that they were performing at. That is a leading indicator that they are on their way to succeeding. I want to share with you one of our Promise students, Dean Kallas. He's going to share some feedback here. Again, Dean received a certificate from us this past summer and an associate's degree last spring. So again, those data points, every one of them is a student. Let's hear from Dean.
Hi, my name's Dean Kallas. I'm an LTCC graduate here. I graduated in 2022. I got involved in the Student Senate here at the community college, and I also did, I was the representative for the LTCC Foundation Board. Honestly, it was the amount of resources, the staff here, everybody was so willing to help. I did a lot of government work. I worked a lot with President DeFranco, Nancy Harrison. I worked a lot with the board, basically representing our students here and making sure that, you know, we were being advocated for. I improved in my grades. I saw it, you know, and it was just this amount of support, the tutoring that I got at the library from the math tutors. Shout out to Melanie and her dog for emotionally supporting me during that time when things got stressful. Yogi, you're awesome. It was just all the resources. Laura Salinas was amazing during the time while I was here at LTCC. I was able to basically get school supplies and my textbooks for free through the Promise program. That helped me immensely save on costs, so I could focus on other, you know, financial obligations that I had while attending college. So the community college really, really helps all their students out financially, and that is so important, and I value that, you know, a lot. My favorite thing about LTCC would have to be the professors that I had and the resources, the unlimited amount of resources that I had, you know. I was also part of the disability resource community and the ally community. And so I sought out different support systems to help me get through my time here at community college. A re-energized LTCC to me is this vibrant, you know, community. It's gonna be the place to hang out, not just for the students, but I can see the whole community coming here to hang out. I hear, you know, I know that they've been working on so many new projects, you know, revamping the structure and the architecture here, making it look nicer. I hear the 24/7 campus is gonna be happening, and I am so excited to see where the school's gonna be. I think that's so cool that they're going beyond what I believe a community college normally does. So, thank you.
All right, some other exciting developments. Speaking of our Promise program, in fall, we got the Senate bill permanently extended that allows us to serve our Nevada side basin residents at a significantly reduced rate. And wait, there's more. Right now on the governor's desk is an assembly bill that would allow us to serve students throughout the state of Nevada for reduce their out-of-state tuition in half, which would be a huge difference for those students. We're also making progress on telehealth. We launched this last year. Students now have access to free telehealth and mental health services. We had 425 visits last year. 50% of those took place after hours. So we are meeting students where they're at when they need the services. Off-campus housing. Board members, I'm very excited about this. We are full. We got 31 students lined up. 28 of them have already moved in. The next 3 are on their way. So this is happening. We're continuing to serve students as we bring housing on board. Goal 3 is about student success and completion with an emphasis on equity. And there is one program that really epitomizes this effort. I know many of you are familiar with it. Speaking of transformations, previously known as the Incarcerated Student Program, we are now launching it as the Rising Scholars Program. And the reason for this, I want to talk to you about it, is that we're trying to remove the stigmatization that follows these students. Many of these students have spent their lifetimes justice involved, but now they are rising, right? They are moving up. We want to acknowledge that. We want to support them. And also Rising Scholars, we're going away from just serving students in their classroom, but we're thinking about Community College 3.0. How do we serve them upon release? How do we help them ensure they finish their degrees, get jobs, help them with expungement services, things of the such. So I am thrilled to announce these exciting changes to Rising Scholars. You'll see an email from Shane Reynolds, the director of the program, later this week outlining all the details. But there's nothing I love more than a great student story, and Samuel Brown, you have one of the most powerful student stories that I know. Samuel graduated from us in what is now the Rising Scholars Program in 2017 with a sociology degree, went on to get his bachelor's degree. He has been, since then, an advocate. He's involved with many nonprofits that are focused on justice reform and removing systematic racism. And we are so proud to call you an LTCC alum. This is Samuel at his bachelor's degree graduation. And Samuel did, as you saw, okay, well, I was almost there. And this is something unique we could do, right? We go to the graduations. That's our vice president at the time, and Shane. This is at his bachelor's degree graduation. But the campus community hasn't had an opportunity to give him a warm, kind of congratulations. So Samuel, will you come join me up here? Samuel's actually here with us today. Can you turn up the lights? Congratulations, man. Hey, you earned it. You're a boss. Look at all these people help make this happen, right? Yeah. All these people help make this happen. Cool. So Samuel will be here after. I encourage you to take a chance to chat with him. He has an amazing story.
Right on.
Thank you. All right, speaking of another program, turn on the lights, but also stand up, I guess that was. No, the lights can go down now, sorry, Kurt. Another amazing program is Reconnect to Complete. This program is changing lives in our community. As I shared before, we have more college-ready, no degree in our community than our region, our state, our nation. So we set a goal to re-engage these students. You can see the goals we set. We want to bring back 75 students. We want to get 10 of them degrees. We've exceeded those goals due to the great work of Tony and Antonio on our team. 116 students that were previously stopped out. They thought they were done, are back to us, and guess what? 34 of them already have degrees since we launched this in winter 2021. So pretty amazing. I also want to talk about some grant funding trends. As you see, we're on the uptick. This is making a difference. Look at this stat. We secured $11 million worth of grants last year. I mean, it's a red letter year all around. 41 new staff hires, right? That's where this is coming from. On to our fourth goal, which is about modern facilities in alignment with our needs. And we're making some progress in that. I'm pleased to report that we are currently constructing our equipment storage facility. Special thanks to our partners at the city and TRPA that are here with us today that help make this possible. This gives you a sense of what it looked like. It's a pretty modest building, but it'll house our Coyote buses, our program equipment for forestry, fire, and wilderness, and it'll also house our M&O equipment to make it easier to use. And what's unique about this, you can see, this is the 1996 master plan. What's it called for? A storage facility. 1996, so guess what? It's happening. It is finally happening. We are fulfilling promises. Thank you to our partners. And speaking of fulfilling promises, I want to talk about housing. This is something I've been talking about since I stepped onto campus a decade ago. It started becoming more of a reality when we explored it through the Measure F bond. And then in 2017-18, my first year as president, the board set a goal to explore and look for housing. And these are some of the planning documents. And what I want to say is this didn't happen overnight. There's a lot of people in the room and not in the room, Al Frangioni, Amy Chilton, Laura Mattoon, the board members and others, even Dr. Kendra Murillo, that helped get us to this moment. I want to thank all our partners that signed on for housing. We spent a lot of time down in Sacramento telling our story. And as you know, at the end of the day, we're going to be breaking ground with everything, all things in our favor by next summer with the support of our partners here in the community. So we're very excited about that. The other part of this goal is advocacy for our Tahoe Basin Public Safety Training Center. This was a visit by the Chancellor's Office from Sacramento. Our local public safety partners joined us to talk about the need. As you can see, many of our public safety partners signed on to this. We spent a lot of time. We had a request in from Assemblymember Bigelow. We were right there to the 11th hour, and we just didn't quite get on over the hump. But I'm here to let you know we are going to double down on our advocacy efforts this year, and we are going to bring this project to Tahoe one way or another. I really just committed there, I realize. The next goal is a goal that is just ongoing. It's something we're always going to do. It's being committed to being a leader in climate and sustainability. We're proud to be the hub of Lake Link here at LTCC, and thank all the partners that make that possible for microtransit in our area. You can see the region. We are also thrilled to be a partner at the Greenway Trail. This is the bridge. See the birds? Look at the wildlife. This is on our campus, folks. When you cross this bridge, you're on the Lake Tahoe Community College campus. And not only have we created a great access point for students and families and community members, but also we have a beautiful area that's being conserved and restored on our campus and helping the lake in our natural environment. I was thrilled to be involved with so many partners that made this possible across so many different agencies. We were just honored recently at the Best in the Basin Awards by TRPA. It was a very, very powerful moment, everything that happened to make this bridge possible. I've talked a lot about ripple effect. I know at the faculty day yesterday, Ray was talking about this, and I had quite a ripple effect experience. This trail is called the Dennis T. Machida Trail. This is his sister, Dr. Sandy Machida, who is a psychology faculty member at Chico State, who was also my advisor, my mentor, helped me get multiple scholarships, and eventually kicked me out of the Chico State nest to go to graduate school. And here we are, this is 25 plus years later since I met her, and she came to this event, and she's like, I was speaking, she's like, you're the president now? At the trail that is named after her brother. So I want to remind us is that we don't always know our impact. We saw it a little bit today with Samuel. We don't know where those helping hands are going to go. We got to see it a little bit today with some of our students who are transferring. We don't always know the impact, but as educators, and especially faculty members, the ripple effect is unbelievable. And so we need to remember when we do our work. And maybe 25 years later, it'll greet you with an amazing surprise. Finally, we're getting after it with defensible space. We're doing brush clearing. We have the new fire road. We're limbing up trees. We are becoming a fire-prepared campus. That is goal 5. Goal 6, I don't even want to talk about this much, but we did some great work. There was more availability testing here than any of my other peers in the state. We provided these vaccine incentives for students. We did some great work. Once again, thank you to everyone for helping us see it through the worst part of the pandemic. Again, all these are detailed in your progress update. I encourage you to look and read more because I really just touched on the surface. in this progress update, you'll see we're taking a lot of projects. We got a lot going on, and kind of each one of these projects is like herding a cat. But the good news is all the employees and leaders and board members that work at this campus, you are some of the best cat herders west of the Mississippi. I want you to take a look and you'll understand more what I mean.
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here, and if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
You see the movies, you hear the stories, I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
All right, we got some good cat herders here. So I want to talk about our next year. We're doing this 2-year cycle. We've now established these 22, 24 goals. Goal 1 through 4 are basically the same, right? So I'm not going to talk a lot about those. It's a continuation of our work. It's going deeper in equity. It's completing and conducting our equity audit. It's working on student access. How do we create better pathways? Goal 3, how do we bring in more folks to our university center programs, right? That's student success and completion. Continuing goal 4 around facilities, we're going to be building housing, finishing the equipment storage facility, finishing the remodel for efficiency project, and working and advocating to get money for that Tahoe Basin Public Safety Center. So those 4 will continue. The next steps are detailed in your document, as is all 6 goals are actually listed on the back. There are 2 new goals that we've brought on board to replace some previous goals that we've kind of completed or moved into full implementation mode. One of those is transforming to a 24/7 campus. This is going to take all of our efforts, and I need to let you know now, it's going to require us to change. Our hours are going to be different, our services are going to be different, and we're going to need to bring on staff. The good news is the board has allocated resources in the budget for this, but we're going to need a director of residential life. We're going to need enhanced security services. We're going to need somebody to oversee food services for these students. And we're going to be looking for the best quality candidates out there. I mean, I'd take Paul Bart on my team any day. But again, this housing is going to change how we do things. You'll look forward to hearing more about that. Goal 6, the final goal, is about institutional reflection as we prepare for accreditation and relook at some of our visioning processes. As a reminder, our last institutional self-evaluation report was in 2017. Well, guess what? We're back at it again. The next one is due in December 2023, so just a little bit more than a year away. You'll be hearing a lot more about this with a visit in fall 2024. That's why this is a 2-year goal. Additionally, remember when we turned 40? Felt like the other day. That's how I kind of feel personally. This was March 2014. Spring 2024 is our 50th anniversary. We're a year and a half away. There's a lot of prep that goes into that. Who are we going to be when we're 50? You'll remember last time we did a lot of visioning processes. You could tell it's old by the 2020 vision and by the facilitator that this was a while ago, but we're going to be looking to redo this, relook at our vision, mission, values. Who are we as an institution, looking at our logo and our brand. Those are 2-year goals, so you'll see a lot of those 2 in the 2nd year, but I'm just previewing you now. I want you to think about it. So again, all those goals are in the back of your document. And you know, each project is a cat. We got a lot of cats around here, but best set of cat herders. All right, on to our final student spotlight. We are about to wrap this up. Our final student spotlight is Chase Cunningham. And Chase is like family at LTCC. Here's Chase at his time at the Child Development Center. Let's hear what Chase has to share with us.
My name is Chase Cunningham, and I am a graduate from Lake Tahoe Community College. So when I graduated from LTCC, I graduated with an AA in psychology, and I'm currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology here at UC Davis. So I do plan on getting a master's in psychology. I do want to try to pursue a job in either counseling or therapy. So studying and getting work experience at LTCC definitely helped me a lot. When I started working on campus I was an operator for the Coyote Hotline. It was just a hotline they started during COVID for anybody to call if they had any questions. I could redirect them easily and just help them figure out or find the information they were looking for. After that, I ended up joining the Retention and Re-Engagement Center with Antonio, and then once he became the Promise Director, I joined the Promise Director with him and became a Promise Navigator. So the one thing that helped me be the most successful at LTCC was just support from all the faculty and staff. Yeah, so anytime I was struggling in classes or stuff, I would speak with my teachers. I would go to some of my friends who were also in the same classes. I would go to tutoring in the library if I needed to. That was always helpful. If I was curious about my classes or my path forward, I would speak with Christy Ellingford, my counselor. She would also always be super helpful. The teachers are always so engaging. If you wanted help, you could always have one-on-one conversations with them. They were always super responsive with their emails and super helpful and just wanted you to succeed, which was very, very helpful. So the Promise program definitely helped me a lot, especially with covering my tuition for 3 years while I still tried to figure out what I wanted to do. During my first year or so, especially when COVID first shut everything down, I was starting to realize that the current major I was in wasn't what I was enjoying. I definitely thank Christy a lot for helping me out of that and figuring out what I wanted to do, helping me take a bunch of different classes to figure out which one worked with me the best and the most and just see what I liked. And thanks to Christy, I found the psychology major, and I just love psychology. I love getting to help people. As I was definitely struggling. Leadership definitely helped me out a lot, and just because of them, I was able to succeed, I believe, and just make it to where I am now. For re-energized LTCC, the one thing that stands out to me most is maybe more in-person events. I know we still had some after COVID had shut everything down, but before that, I do miss those events. I definitely think those events help you as a student, as like they kind of give you a mental break from everything, a time to like de-stress, loosen up, and just have a good time. My favorite memory at LTCC is just getting to host events with the Promise program and with the Equity Office. LTCC definitely gave me some of the best memories that I'll ever hold on to.
All right, well, thank you to Chase and all our students for sharing your story. So the final bit that we get to do each year is acknowledge our President's Service Award winners. These recipients are not just excellent students, but they went above and beyond to give back to campus. Our first two recipients, Bruno Macias and Dean Kallas, I'd like to invite to the stage. All right, so both of these individuals were recognized at the scholarship reception in June. So they both received their rewards, which also comes with a $2,000 scholarship check. And many of you weren't able to be there. So I want to make sure that they're recognized in front of all of you that helped them achieve this. Dean, as you know, was so active as a student. He was secretary and vice president on Student Senate, served on a bunch of committees, including the foundation board. He was always active on campus, really committed to equity and inclusivity. He gave a lot to this campus. Bruno, as you know, was Student Senate president. You may remember him from the student graduation speaker. He told a very compelling story about his own personal challenges in getting and embracing failure and getting to success. So these two recipients, they have been honored before, but I wanted to bring them in. Come in close here, you guys. I want to bring them in to recognize them in front of you. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. I'm going to ask you guys to step to the side. Go ahead over there. All right, I'm going to ask them to stay up here with me for a minute. Perfect. Because I have two additional recipients to recognize. The next one you may have guessed is Val Martinez. Val, come on up. As you know, as I said, Val should be the poster student for student athletes statewide. She gave so much. She worked at the Child Development Center, our Connect programs, scholar athlete, captain of the team, epic player in that 2019 season, and now she's over at UC Berkeley. Val, we want to honor you with this President's Service Award. Please join me in congratulating Val. We'll get Chase up here next. And our final recipient, he's like family, Chase Cunningham. Chase, come on up. Chase did so many things to support students. You know, he worked on the Coyote Hotline, the Reconnect to Complete program, the Promise Navigator. But more importantly, he was like an informal network to so many students, right? He was helping them navigate the paths. He's now at UC Davis. They both came up from Davis and Berkeley. Val has like a very important class that she needs to leave straight too. So I'm gonna keep us moving. But the President's Service Award, I know you both already got yours, but it comes with a $2,000 check to help you with your education. So congratulations. Thank you. My pleasure, Val. I'm glad you can make it. All right, so come here with me. So to wrap this, I want to remind us that we are in this epic transformation. And remember, the chrysalis phase, it's uncomfortable, but it's also what makes us strong. And I want to share a quote from one of my favorite books, and a couple of us in the President's Office really like this book. You may know it, Hope from the Flowers. And the question that's asked, that's posed by the caterpillar, is how does one become a butterfly? And the response from the butterfly is you must want to fly so much that you're willing to give up being a caterpillar. Who are we going to be when we turn 50? It's been great to be a caterpillar, but I'm asking all of you to join with me to take this next step and be a butterfly. Will you come fly with all of us? Yeah? Thank you for being here to meet with all of us today. Thank you for joining the State of the College Address. I'm looking forward to a great 2022-2023 academic year. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much.